Worried that your off-leash dog might get into major trouble? Well, today we're talking to a leading expert in pet technology about what he's learned about GPS dog collars. So we're thrilled to be joined by Gary Nealon today. He's founder and CEO of Technobark. It's a leading voice in the world of pet technology. Gary looks at all kinds of cutting-edge gadgets designed to keep our furry friends safe, healthy, and entertained. So he's a successful entrepreneur. He's got a passion for dogs, and he's got this site, Technobark. It's a go-to resource for pet owners seeking the best tech products on the market. So Gary, who knew in this modern world that we live in today that dogs have a technology website?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing the amount of technology that's coming out for both dogs and cats and pets in general.
I guess it's just like all of us, right? You know, they're keeping up in the modern world. Let's talk about Technobark. What inspired you to create a site?
Yeah, so my business partner and I had a massive passion for dogs. So we started buying brands and blogs that focused on the health and safety of pet animals. Pet tech was one of them. Obviously, with some of the new technologies coming out, it was making it easier to track animals, to feed them, to keep them entertained, and pet tech just really fit into that whole portfolio.
So I know you're looking a lot at GPS technology, specifically dog collars. What about GPS dog collars get you excited?
Well, it's one of the things. So part of our passion is making sure animals don't end up in shelters and rescues. And just GPS dog collars in general, the ability to track and have accurate information about where your dog or animal is a huge reason why animals don't end up into shelters. So the whole GPS technology, being able to locate an animal that either gets out of a yard or escapes or gets scared, is one thing that really helps reduce the lost animal portion of the shelter population.
Yeah, that's true. I never actually thought of that. I foster dogs from the shelter. So there's a wide range of dogs, and they come to my house sometimes for a week, sometimes for longer. Mm-hmm. And, you wish you could know the story of this dog. Like, where did this dog come from? How did it get loose? Was it abandoned? What was the story? But I can only imagine that, having a GPS dog collar could really help reunite a lot of these pets with their owners. So from your personal experience, what are some of the misconceptions that dog owners have about GPS dog collars?
Well, they associate all dog collars as being like a shock collar, which not all of them are. Mm-hmm. And, so there's the two different trains, I guess, or two different thoughts of training is, encouragement or enforcement or however you want to describe it. So a shock collar to a lot of people, it feels like, it's a pain causing thing, where not all GPS collars are that. A lot of them are just wireless GPS collars that create a fence instead of being like a shock fence. And I think that's the important differentiation, is understanding which ones are a shock collar versus which ones are actually just using a geofence type program.
So we're here actually primarily talking about Halo Collar, right? And that product. And I know it's a product that you reviewed, and I believe you give it sort of your number one rating on your website. I would say with the Halo, certainly we would not call it a shock collar. I've got the new Halo 4 right here. What you really do feel is a vibration. It's kind of like a static, kind of cling. And you're fully able to optimize that and, scale it down or scale it up depending upon your needs. So I think that definitely is a misconception.
One of the things about Halo Collar too is that like the in-app training modules that they have, you can adjust it whether you want it to be just positive methods only or if that vibration that you're talking about. So there's a lot of customization that you can do in it. It's not just like a one fits all type of training module for it.
Yeah, it's so true, because every dog is different. And, I just found that I have this collar, I put it on the dog, and some of them pick it up. It's like, here's the rules, dog. Can't go out, the gate. Just don't go here. I know UPS guy's going to come here once in a while, but no. Other dogs, they just take a little bit more time. So you've got to maybe turn it up a little bit more, or you got to spend a little bit more time with training. But that all kind of gets into like the relationship that you have with your dog. Because I mean, one thing I've learned, you don't just put this collar on, plug it in, and you're done. You've got to actually introduce the dog to what this is all about. They're not reading the instruction manual, even though they got a website.
I think that's the difference between like when you think about a traditional like electric fence, it's literally just a perimeter. Whereas a GPS collar is if they get outside of a perimeter, then it's still able to locate them. And I think that's a big differentiator as well, is that like the ability to then find an animal if they get out of the area that they were supposed to be in.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's a GPS, enablement. And some people are very active with their dogs, right? They go camping, they go to the beach, they go to whatever they go, and they need to be able to call their dog back and need to know where the dog is if the dog decides to have a little fun on its own. So super important. Did you look at all at the, the technology behind the Halo and everything that it offers?
Yeah. So our process is we actually take actual dog owners, some on our team and some that we actually bring on randomly, and put the equipment to use. So a lot of times we'll test, proximity out in nature. Like if you're out in the woods, how accurate is the data? If you're in a city, because all those parameters really have an impact. When you're in a city, GPS tends to be a little bit harder to pinpoint just because of the buildings and everything else. And when an animal's lost, accuracy is a huge factor.
It is. And I really like the fact that there's many different models, or I call it redundancy within the Halo collar. If this doesn't work, then it can go to Wi-Fi, because you could be in your house. My house has huge covers over, so there's no clear view of the sky, so the Wi-Fi just works just perfectly. And the Halo collar kind of figures all of that out. There's a new Halo Collar 4. Have you had a chance to look at that? And what do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, the advancements that they're making and just battery life, like you said, the ability to switch to different services. So whether it's, cell phone carrier versus Wi-Fi versus Bluetooth, it'll default to whichever one is the most accurate at the time. So I think that's a huge improvement on the collars that they're making as well.
Yeah. And specifically, the upgraded Halo Collar 4. What do you think of that?
What I really like about it is the size of it. So the reduced size allows you to use it for smaller animals, and the precise location mapping, which is really critical for in different environments, is one of the big improvements that the Halo 4 has over the previous ones. So yeah, we're really impressed with what they've been able to do and the upgrades they keep adding to it.
So just when it comes to high-tech pet products, right? What would you give to owners that, maybe never really considered tech for their dog?
Well, for me, I think it's a necessity because there's, one of the, for stats, I don't know if anybody's familiar with this, but there's 6.4 million animals that enter shelters every year. And of those that get adopted, I think it's like 40 to 50% of them end up back in a shelter. And it's a lot of it comes down to dogs being scared or not being in their environment. And especially now with like people traveling as much as they do with their animals, to have tech be able to help you relocate that animal or to understand that the animal's safe, I think it's a huge, huge factor that a lot of people don't consider. So something like a Halo collar that could give you the security of knowing, even if your animal does get lost, that you can relocate them within a time frame that's realistic and not have them not end up, lost or forever. I wouldn't have an animal without a GPS collar right now.
All right, Gary. Well, great talking with you. Great about learning about all this great new tech that's out there for dogs and sharing your expertise with us. And we're really excited to hear about all these advancements in pet technology. So we'd love to have you back on here again sometime to keep us up to date. That's Gary Nealon. He is the CEO of Technobark.